Hey, what's going on guys, and welcome back to another video tutorial under JavaScript for beginners, especially the jQuery part. So in this video tutorial, we're going to be talking briefly about events in jQuery and how they are a little bit different compared to JavaScript. So if you've watched this entire series of beginners for JavaScript, you definitely must have understood what is events, because we went through different events in JavaScript like click event, then we had on mouse over, on mouse exit, and so on. So we had different events in JavaScript which we've seen in this entire series. But in jQuery what happens is the events are handled differently. Now we have the same set of events in jQuery also. However, the way they work or the way they are accessed in the code is slightly different. So let's see how events work in jQuery, and we are using the same code from the previous video, that is the selectors video. So if you've not watched that, do watch that, because the code is exactly the same from that previous video. If not, you can just pause this video and you can just type it out. It is basic HTML, so this is the entire code. Okay, so you can just pause the video, just type it out. Okay, so in the previous video what we were doing is, on the onClick event of the button, we were calling a custom function fn1, which we were defining in the script tag. So this is the function fn1, and we were using the selector and we were performing fade toggle function. So here the division which is having an ID of first div, which is this division, that is the first division, was faded on the click event. Okay, so if I click on this, we are fading it out. If I click it back, we are fading back in. Okay, so this is something that we were doing in the previous couple of videos. And now here you can see that we are using the onClick event of the button. So in JavaScript also we've been doing this onClick event, but in jQuery what happens is we do not handle the click event in the HTML itself. Okay, so what we do is we handle the event separately in JavaScript code. So the way we use jQuery events is we don't define it over here. So what we do is we do that in the script tag itself. So in the script tag, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say $, and inside the selector function what I'm going to say is I'm going to pass the button. Okay, so this is the element selector, right? So what I'm going to say is $button, and I'm going to say .click. So this click method is an inbuilt method, and basically it is equivalent to the onClick event which we were writing it over here in JavaScript, right? So this is that same equivalent method which works exactly the same. Now opening and closing round brackets, because it is a method, and a semicolon, but on click something should happen, right? So that's something we have to define it inside here. And whenever we want to define an action, what we do is we create a function, right? So I'm gonna write function, opening and closing round brackets of the function, opening and closing curly brackets of the function for the body, and I'm gonna hit enter. So this syntax is looking a little bit weird, because what we did is we called a method, and inside that we created a function without a name, right? So this is an anonymous function which only exists inside this click method. Okay, now what you could have done is you could have created another function also, separate function. Let's say this is the fn1, right? So if I can copy this and if I can paste it over here, even this is okay. So what I'm doing is I'm saying when the $button, that is when the button is clicked, call fn1. Okay, so let's see if this works. If I click on this, you can see that the first division got faded out. If I click back, the first division comes back. So the same functionality was accessed using the click method, and we did not have to declare the event over here. That is, we did not have to say on click over here. This is the JavaScript way, but in jQuery you can see that we have methods that handle the same thing, and this makes it cleaner because all the events are handled in the jQuery coding part itself. Okay, so now there is one more method that I want to talk about, which is the document.ready method or the ready event. So let me just first write it down. So I'm going to say $document. So I'm selecting the entire document object, and I'm going to say .ready, semicolon for the method ending. And inside this ready, what we're going to say is we're going to say function, because when we're calling the ready method, basically this ready method is called when the entire HTML document is loaded. Okay, so after that we want something to happen, right? And whenever we want some action to happen, we call a function. So we say function, opening and closing round brackets of the function, opening and closing curly braces of the function, and whatever code we write, we should be writing inside this. So this is a general habit or a general convention being followed, that any code that you want to call for jQuery should be inside this ready function. And the reason is because obviously you want all the functions, all the jQuery functionality to work only after your entire document is loaded onto the website, right? So this ready function puts a restriction, that is, this button click will not be called until and unless your website is loaded. Now right now our website is very lightweight because it doesn't have a lot of components, but in real world scenarios sometimes websites are very heavy, right? So there are a lot of elements on a website, so it takes some time depending upon your internet speed whether your document is loaded or not. So let's say your website is very large and only a button is loaded, and on that button click you want something to be hidden, but that document or the entire part of the document still is not loaded. So you don't want your button to work in that case, right? So until and unless the entire document is loaded, only after that you want the functionality of the button to work. So this ready method helps us achieve that, and all this code will be used or activated only when the entire document is loaded. So that's the actual functionality of this ready method. So from now onwards, as we move ahead, we are going to be writing all our jQuery code inside this ready event or ready method. Okay, so this was a little bit introduction on events in jQuery. So as I mentioned, events in jQuery are handled differently compared to JavaScript. Basically, we have the same set of events, but in jQuery we have inbuilt methods to handle those events. Okay, so instead of writing onClick over here and specifying a JavaScript function, what we did is we called the equivalent click method, and this click will only affect the button because we are using the element selector. You can also give the button an ID btn1 and you can say hashtag btn1 and it will still work, but it will work only for this specific button. If we have some other button with some other ID, the click method will not work for that. So let me just copy paste this and change the button ID to btn2. If I click on this, so this is click me 2. If I click on this, nothing will happen. You can see fade toggling is not happening. But if I click on the first one, the first division gets faded. So this click method only works for btn1 because we are passing the ID of this btn or button. Okay, so yeah, this was just an introduction to events in jQuery and how they are handled differently compared to JavaScript. In the next video, we'll see a few more events to understand it better, and we'll take some different examples. So yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you understood how to perform event handling, at least at a basic level, in jQuery and how it is different from JavaScript. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Do let me know in the comments how this video was. Share it with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.